DPG. I'm, of course, Greg, your host. Thank you very much for joining me for my 200th episode. It means a lot to me to be able to do this, that have people watch, that have subscribers and everything, and it just makes me, very happy. So I was thinking about what I could do for this video, and then all of a sudden an idea came and hit me in the face. It's life lessons that I got from world travel and from a world traveler himself. So this past weekend, I took a trip to Destin, Florida to see Yakov Smirnoff perform. So if you've been following this channel for a while, you know I'm a fan of his comedy, and I talked about him in another video. So I wanted to see him live to basically get an idea of his comedy, of stuff that I've seen in the 80s and 90s. And I wasn't expecting it, but I got 2 life lessons out of it. So his show was very good. It was about an hour and a half long of his material. And then he had a 30-minute Q&A session, which was really interesting to kind of get his perception and ideas and stuff. And he even got a little sentimental. So the first lesson that I got is about American generosity. In this travel channel, I always kind of look outside and never really look back inward to what America means for people. And I got a lesson from Mr. Smirnoff. So he grew up in the Soviet Union, in Odessa, and it is very hard to be a stand-up comedian when you live in a regime like that. Basically, the only jokes that he could tell that got approved by the Ministry of Jokes were about fish, so he decided he wanted more out of his life. And he really couldn't push the envelope in the Soviet Union. And if you want a very good primer on why he couldn't, I would suggest reading the book, The Joke by Milan Kundera. Anyway, so in 1977, through the generosity of the United States, they were allowed to, the Soviet Union imported American grain, and kind of as a quid pro quo, they started allowing emigration from the Soviet Union to the United States. And so in 1977, a 26-year-old Yakov Smirnoff and his parents were able to emigrate to New York City. And they moved into a small tenement apartment, the 3 of them, in a 1-bedroom apartment. They couldn't afford even the first month's rent. They only had $50 in their pocket. And the landlord, who was an older lady, helped them out with that first month. And then all the other neighbors that lived in the apartment building, they came and they gave them blankets and furniture and food and silverware and cups. And it was there that Mr. Smirnoff and his family realized the generosity of America, not just in letting them emigrate, but just the generosity of everyday people. And there are other parts of that, because around the world, there are graveyards filled with boys and some girls who were incredibly generous with their lives to help free parts of the world. So that was the first life lesson, American generosity. The second life lesson that I got is the American pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, which can also lead to failure in that pursuit and then needing to pursue something else. So Mr. Smirnoff had a lot of success in the United States. He had comedy specials. He performed in movies, television. He was kind of a staple in a lot of the late night shows. And all of a sudden, in 1991, his entire material dried up because the Soviet Union collapsed. And David Letterman even had a top 10 list saying the top 10 ways the world will change after the fall of the Soviet Union. And number 1 was that Yakov Smirnoff was out of work. That was not that big of a joke for him, because he actually was. So he recalls sitting in his palatial house in Pacific Palisades and looking around, watching the bills pile up, including the mortgage, and realizing that he needed to pivot. So he was invited to do a comedy show out in the Midwest, and out there he realized that a lot of the people probably didn't realize that the Soviet Union collapsed. So he ended up opening a theater in Branson, Missouri, and he performs there. He also still tours the world. He decided that since he really couldn't talk about the Soviet Union anymore, he would pivot and start talking about the battle of the sexes, because he knew that war would never end. So yeah, that's the other lesson, is that in America, you have the right to succeed, you also have the right to fail, and you have the right to pivot and succeed again. And those lessons were definitely displayed there, and I'm glad that I was able to learn them from such a fine professor. So I just want to say again, spasibo bolshoy, господин Smirnoff. Thank you very much for your time, and get out there.